1981. The second man who's been charged.
We're going to leave Matt Prodger there and go back to St Mary's, Paddington, because news coming in that an announcement could be imminent. Let's go back to Anita.
Tim, thank you very much. Yes, still outside the Lindo wing here at St Mary's in London. And a lot of interest was caused just a few minutes ago when we heard the news that the household, the royal household, in other words, Kensington Palace, had decided to make an alteration to the timing of the announcement of the birth. And with me now is our royal correspondent, Peter Hunt. Peter, a lot of anticipation that this means something is about to happen. What more can you tell us?
I'm afraid I'm going to keep glancing at my iPhone here because we'll get the email here. And what the difference means is that an email should appear in about a minute or two on this phone, which will give us the information we thought would be played out in a theatrical fashion on a bulletin. But first, we will get a bulletin via email which will say that the baby has been born, the sex of the baby, the weight of the baby and the time of the birth. And that should happen very shortly.
OK, well, here we are, just to recap at the Lindo wing. We just have this news coming into us that there could be an announcement soon. That came when we heard the news from Kensington Palace that it had decided to make an alteration to the timing of the announcement of the birth, trying to control this process in the age of social media. So a very interesting evening ahead. You're watching BBC News. I'm Anita McVeigh at the Lindo wing of St Mary's Hospital in London. The Lindo wing, of course, the private wing of the hospital where the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been since early this morning, awaiting the arrival of their baby. And with me is our royal correspondent, Peter Hunt. What news do you have, Peter?
I can tell you that the Duchess of Cambridge, as the statement says, has been delivered of a son. And so we know that that will be a Prince of Cambridge, and he will be the first Prince of Cambridge to be born for more than 190 years. The last was the grandson of George III, and you can hear the cheers there.
Absolutely.
Disseminated.
Huge crowds have been gathered here, of course, all day, growing throughout the day, and you can hear them in the background, I'm sure, cheering at the news that the Duchess of Cambridge has given birth to a son. And Peter, after all our discussions about the changes to the laws of succession and much anticipation that perhaps if she had a daughter, here we would be seeing really a very historic moment with centuries of tradition overturned. Well, then she goes and has a boy.
It's still an historic moment, but not as historic as it could have been. This boy, this baby boy, I'm still waiting for the email to load so I can tell you its weight and correct time of birth, but this boy will be a monarch of 16 countries. It will be Supreme Governor of the Church of England. It possibly will be head of the armed forces. It will be head of the armed forces, possibly head of the Commonwealth. So quite a lot of weight on this tiny little baby just after it's uttered its first cry and had its first breath.
And Peter, obviously, we imagine that the change to the plan was published, if you like, the expected plan of the announcement of the birth. That's happened because of, I presume, Kensington Palace's concerns that the news would leak out ahead of the scheduled announcement.
I think it's about leaking. I think they just decided this would be simpler and easier. I mean, their initial plan, and they always admitted that the initial plan may be tinkered. It's been tinkered with rather significantly.
Sorry, Peter, I'll just interrupt you. The weight of the baby, we're told, is 8 pounds and 6 ounces. So now we know it's a son for William and Catherine. And I'm just being told that the baby was delivered shortly after 4 p.m, 4:24 p.m. and 4:24 p.m, yes. All this news just being relayed to us outside the Lindo wing here at St Mary's, and the world's media, which has been gathered here, relaying that news around the world with enormous interest. We're told that the Duke of Cambridge was present at the birth. He, of course, was on paternity leave. He had taken paternity leave from his RAF duties to spend the last 7 days or so with Catherine. We believe that she was around a week overdue and therefore was travelling with her to the hospital this morning, has been by her side and certainly was present for the birth, as one would expect of a very modern couple. Peter, and now the process begins, I suppose, of trying to balance their private life was the enormous public interest there's going to be in this little baby.
But crucially, what we're going to see here is what we've been talking about is the theatrical moment. Any moment now, Ed Perkins, who is the couple's press secretary, will walk down those steps. He'll have in his hand a foolscap piece of paper which will have those details we've just broadcast about the birth. He'll be driven in that car with a police backup car to Buckingham Palace. The announcement will be placed in a frame and then placed on the easel. And the easel is the same easel used for Prince William back in 1982. So there'll be the theatre, but of course there won't be that great sense of expectation that we thought there would be as the camera zooms in, because they've already told us the detail that is in that bulletin, that it will be carried out any moment now and driven to the palace.
And perhaps even though we know those details, still, we won't lose that sense of occasion, will we? There's still a huge royal drama unfolding here before our eyes.
As unfolded in 1982, unfolded in a much greater sense now here today, because of the considerable international presence. Wherever you look is here. People are broadcasting many languages, not just English, to an expectant world, and that expectant world has now learned that William and Kate have a baby son.
And we were just talking before we started to hear some details of the baby about the change in the planned announcement. Obviously, we're still going to see that message been taken to Buckingham Palace, but Kensington Palace releasing these details ahead. Because, of course, when Prince William was born, when Prince Harry was born, we didn't have 24-hour news channels, we didn't have social media, all these means by which the news might leak.
I mean, let's just watch. This is Ed Perkins, the Queen's press secretary, William and Kate's press secretary, people cheering. He didn't get in the car, he just handed over the announcement, and it's now being driven off. And it has a police escort as well, and that will make the short journey from here to Buckingham Palace, where, as we say, it'll be placed in a frame and on an easel and displayed for the world, and particularly for the many people who've spent their time there at Buckingham Palace to see.
So a great cheer and from the crowd, and a smile indeed from the press secretary as he handed over that notice to the waiting driver.